today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about pricing. My name is Audrey Faust, and I run a business, Bookkeeper on Demand. And today I wanted to talk to you about how to price your bookkeeping services. So I often get lots of questions regarding this. And I talk a lot about this with my group members in my free group, as well as the members I work with in my paid group program. Pricing is a huge topic. So I just wanted to briefly go over a few things today, and to talk more about pricing and how to price your bookkeeping services. So the first thing you want to that's very important is make sure you're pricing for your value. What are you worth? Take into consideration your education, take into consideration your experience, and make sure you're charging enough. So often I hear about bookkeepers and they're not charging enough. So often bookkeepers come into my Bookkeeper on Demand program, and that's one of the first things we learn, that they're not charging enough. And that is part of the struggle that they're having with that. So make sure you're charging enough. Make sure you're charging what you're worth, and take into consideration your experience as well as your education that you've encountered. And continue to raise your prices. That's another thing. Make sure you're not staying at the same price. You're becoming more valuable the more work you do and the more experience you have to be continually raising your prices for your existing clients as well as new ones. Also take into consideration what the market is bearing. So what are bookkeepers in your local area charging? Some of those bookkeepers are going to be charging more or less than what you are. You don't want to be the super high priced unless you're turning away business. Then you can be high priced, of course, but you definitely don't want to be the lowest priced in the market. So do a little research around where in your area and see what people are charging. See what other bookkeepers are charging. Reach out to them and just have a conversation. Sometimes they'll be accepting of reaching out, sometimes they won't be, but just reach out to a few. I was always very open to talk to other bookkeepers in the area. I enjoyed it because then I wanted to see what they were doing and who was in my market as well. So make sure what you're charging feels good to you. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you're charging too much, and you don't feel good about what you're charging, or you're not confident, that's going to come across when you're on a sales call. So make sure you're not charging too much that you don't feel comfortable with what you're charging. You can always increase your prices as you get more comfortable. And make sure you're charging enough, because if you can go out and get a full-time job and make more money or the same amount of money, then you're definitely not charging enough. So make sure you're charging enough that it makes it worth your while to have this business and to create a successful business. So, and then there's always the question of hourly or flat rate. Really, I always think of that as a personal preference. I don't think one is better than the other. I know I've used both, and I've had successes and failures with both of them. And I like, hourly for certain reasons and flat rate for certain reasons. But I also, whatever works for you. Some people like to know what they're going to get in income every month. And other people are fine with an hourly rate that they can, if they work more hours, then they get paid more. Personally, if I'm working my butt off, I want to get paid more for working my butt off. So that's kind of how I look at it. I tend to charge hourly more often than the flat rate. But that's just my personal preference. And you got to do what feels good for you, because it's your business and you want to make yourself happy, right?